start reading. I tell you what, the way it grows your mind,
Yeah.
the way you develop with reading, and I can never not advocate to having that kind of self-development entrepreneur mindset. You grow so much. Um,
I think as well, writing the kind of books that you want to read. So that was kind of the thing that was with my book when it became fiction. I realized that there's not a lot of stories out there like mine. So in the Christian world, you tend to get actual true stories, autobiographies of
yeah,
real like crazy lives. And then you get Christian books, which are kind of quite clean and nice. And, there was no like combining the two stories. Where's the gritty stories that were mine, like mine. So when I did go to some publishers with my books, that was some of the feedback that came back. Like some of the wording I'd used, it was too graphic. There was a few words in there that they felt were like too strong curse words, and there really wasn't. And a lot of the content was very mild compared to the stories that I know people have lived. And I thought that's the problem. There isn't like this lane where you combine in the real hardcore, gritty, true stories and the Christian fiction, because there's people out there who this is their life and they want to find characters that they connect with. So that was
exactly.
kind of another thing. Is like, right, I've written a book that is actually a book that when I was first starting out on my Christian
Yeah.
journey, I would have loved to have been given and wanted to read. So that was something that excited me as well, writing a book that I kind of felt wasn't out there in the stream of books in the genres, and a book that I would want to read myself.
That's brilliant because I'm all about real stuff as well, raw
Yeah.
stuff. Like I mean, as in I wasn't brought up, like Christian, as in
Yeah.
practicing. My family weren't type of thing. Whilst they might tick Christian on the box, when
Yeah, of
the form
course.
comes around, they
Yeah.
weren't. We weren't. We
Yeah.
didn't go. We weren't brought up like that. Yes, I was brought up in an era where they were singing hymns in school, and you say the Lord's Prayer and all that stuff, but I. I guess for me, I kind of always believed there was a God of some form, sort of thing. And yeah, I didn't really. I was like, oh, religion's the cause of all wars and all this and that. I was a bit like that.
Yeah.
But I had some profound things happen in my life, and I came to faith.
Yeah.
And I can testify. Forget about rules and regulations. It's not about that. I can testify that for me, I know that when I've prayed, the answers I've got, and some of the open visions and things like that I've had from the Lord. Whether
Yeah.
how that sounds to some people, it might sound a bit, but but I'm just sharing, like, I know from your own
Yeah.
experience that, yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
you can testify for yourself, right? That
Yeah.
there's a God,
Yeah.
and I know that I believe in Christ, etc., etc. Other people may not have had that experience, maybe like, oh, it's all fairy tale, whatever. But your experience is your experience, and it's
No one
true.
can take that away.
No one can take that away, that testimony, and that faith. So my books are, my faith is in my books, but there is the kind of spiritual warfare element in the books type of thing. So it's fantasy that's very, it has got some I say it's probably got some dark parts to it, because you're showing the evil, and then the protagonist has to overcome the good. Um, so yeah, and then I think when I think of the true story that I wrote, there is like you said, gritty, the stuff that I've been through. It's quite raw. You have to say it as it is. You can't. That was my experience. So you can't glaze over it.
You want people to be able to relate to that and be
Yeah,
like, and see themselves in
emotionally,
that
yeah,
character. So then they can be like, how can we, where's the hope? How can we change?
yeah,
How can we, that is me. Like so many people
yeah.
say that to me, like, that is me, Amber. You've written my story. You've told my story. And it's like, how random is that? How can how can I tell other people's stories? But that's because people resonate with the characters.
Yeah. Absolutely. They connect to it. You've written it, and you're sharing what you've been through those characters. And obviously you must have really put the character development well in that story. It must be, for readers to kind of, when readers come back to you with, hey, this is really touched my heart. It's the way you've written it that shows the way you've written that story. you've actually landed it the way that you were intended to land it, because you're putting those words together, but it can be quite tricky to kind of get the effect that you're
Yeah.
trying to
And I
over
think
readers.
one of the things people will always, because a lot of people obviously who know me have read my book and they're like, oh, is that person this and is that person that? Do I know that person? And they're constantly trying to see if they can find themselves in the story. And I think one of the reasons the characters came so alive is because obviously throughout my own life, I had lots of different people in and out of my life. And for the purpose of storytelling, that's confusing to have all these people. So certain characters in my book are like amalgamations of lots of people and like kind of seasons of my life. So they're not, some of the characters are not based on like one particular person. So I think that was made it easier for, and then they kind of took on lives of their own. But that made it easier for the purpose of storytelling. But maybe that's why people relate to them as well, because they took so much from different people, of real life people, but they became a person of themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, sounds amazing. And do you want to show your cover again?
I will. Who's that person that said Amber? Someone's, I don't know who that is.
Amber. Let me hang on, Granny glasses back on 1 minute.
But they've got like their username is not obviously like what I could read. It's just love hearts, but I don't know who that is. But hi.
Wow.
Oh, it's Poppy. Hi, Poppy.
Oh, hello. I think we got 10 people in.
Hi,
Here at the moment. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Amber and I are getting so carried away chatting about books and her journey and her wonderful book that she's written, which she's showing you. If you show that again, it's Running From Myself.
Yeah, so this is actually a Manchester street, and then obviously there's a little silhouette of somebody running. And I think that what happens when there's nowhere left to run. And I think throughout my whole life, I've always like changed jobs, moved house, got a new boyfriend, got a new college course. Like I was always running away from things. And as you know, that no matter where you go, the one constant thing that's always going to be there is yourself. And you can't run from yourself. And that's kind of what my book is, that I really, really tried over the years to run from myself. And ultimately, it wasn't until, obviously for me, it was a spiritual encounter with God that had the transformation from the inside out, that my heart needed changing. So yeah, can't run from yourself, because I tried.
Oh, what an amazing story. And Amber has actually, for those of you that may have just joined now, Amber's actually donated a lot of her books to prisons and had wonderful feedback from inmates on how her stories touch their hearts and everything. So I just love hearing stories like that, especially where you're kind of transforming, you're giving hope to others, you're empowering others, you're building their confidence, sharing resilience just through a story. Stories are so powerful, aren't they?
Yeah, very much. Yeah. And people want to relate. They want to see themselves, don't they? Like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Yep. And feel that emotional connection to the book. And I think, I was going to ask, were you always a reader, like as a child? Did you grow up sort of reading a lot?
I loved reading, yeah.
Who was your favorite author? Or did you have several?
When I was growing up, I loved Virginia Andrews. I loved her books.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. So I'd always get them out from the library. I was always reading those books. And then obviously she passed away and they carried on telling her stories, didn't they? Which was a little bit weird because they changed a little bit. But I loved her books. And then obviously my auntie's books became my favourite books. And I was always reading them. But yeah, I just love a good fictional story where I can just lose myself in my, I know Molly was saying before, she's got a good imagination, and I love it. Like, when there's a book and a film, I want to read the book first. I want to imagine it in my own mind. I want to see it come to life. And then I'm usually disappointed by the film because it's not usually done very well. But yeah, I love just losing myself in a book and just imagining it all.
Same. Everyone's raving about Hamnet. Have you read it?
Hamlet? No,
Hamnet.
Hamnet,
which is Shakespeare's about Shakespeare's son.
Right. Okay.
The movie's out, Hamnet. Wow. So people are reading the book now because of the movie. Okay, no, neither have I. But no, coming back to favourite authors, I really liked. I mean, I was so diverse. I like Agatha Christie. I've probably read every single Agatha Christie book, and when I really like a particular author and their books, I always look up their backstory. And she wrote over 200 books, and her story is quite quite motivating as well, because it's like one of those where when you're really down and out,
Yeah.
you know, she wanted to give up on life, and then she decided to write, and it was like, wow, imagine had she given up, she would all these 200 books, she made a career out of it and everything. She's a single parent, her husband left her and all of that, and you know, that was like some eras ago, right? So she did it, and in that time women were not as able to kind of had as much of a voice, shall we say. So wow.
Yeah,
I
and
get
look how
inspired by
iconic she
stories
is
like
now,
that.
and how
Yeah. And then I also read like the old classics as well, a lot of them, you know, Jane Austen I love. And then I read those romance Mills and Boons ones.
oh yeah,
When I was
yeah,
a teenager, I read them. And
yeah,
then I loved Chronicles of Narnia, and I think my
well, yeah,
inspiration for the line in the book, where that
yeah,
came from. Mine's got wings though, winged line.
yeah. But
It's
then coming back
yeah,
and rereading them as an adult and as a Christian has
yeah.
been quite amazing as
Yeah,
well.
you didn't realise the message, which you didn't realise.
Yeah,
Didn't realise the time was yeah. And I think, and I feel like with mine's kind of I've had some, yeah, mine's got a message in there as well, both of them, in a different way though, because I think obviously my books have they've got the swords and battles in there, sort of thing in there. So there's a bit of gore in it from that, but not in a really bad dark way, but just in a, it made sense to have that in there, type of thing. So but they're adventure. So it's the young protagonist adventure. It's adventure stories, but there's some quite deep themes in there around kind of, I guess there's deep themes, and it gets you thinking a little bit on the afterlife with these books, a little bit in the story, type of thing. Yeah, and all this fantastical world. So that's the those are the feedback from some of the readers is around the world building. So mine's got a 4.6 on thingy, that I don't know if I'm allowed to say. 4.6.
right, okay.
Right?
we're not allowed to say that.
But it's the world building and the character development, and I use quite a lot of dialogue as well. So I've really had some lovely feedback from readers about the mainly the first book, because the second book's only really out mid this year, so it takes time for people to get to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we are 10 minutes away. I'm just checking for more questions if there are any in there. We've still got nine people with us. Interesting. I enjoyed that. Had to leave. Oh, someone messaged to say they had to leave, but they didn't. They enjoyed this, and so I'm going to keep plugging your book there. So Amber Gilbert has written this book, Running from Myself, which is based on a true story. She's written this lovely story with different characters in it, showing the struggles that they overcome. I'm sure you can say this better than me, Amber. Showing the struggles that they overcome. It's a story of resilience, a story of hope, a story of overcoming, and a story of faith. Yeah. So it's a transformational book, and one that you probably want to get your hands on. So check it out on Amber's TikTok, please. Yeah. So in our last 9 minutes of the show. Oh, I call it a show now. All right. Oh. Feels like a show, doesn't it? Yeah. Have you enjoyed it, Amber?
Yeah, I've loved it. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So you've told us about your work in progress. You've told us that you've got to kind of get onto paper, but obviously you're also a busy lady. You've told us all the wonderful things you've done during your author journey. And that, do you think you may do some events, or you've definitely taken a step back from events this year?
I think what I have always said is that I think especially last year I was just saying yes. So whatever came in, I was just saying yes to it. I was just seeing it as an opportunity that God was presenting before me, and whoever was going to be there was going to be. So yeah, I'll still say the same. I also got involved in some book events at my local library. So we have an event called a book fest. So I went to that. So I'm in a writers group as well. So we went to this book event earlier in the year, and then they were like, why are you not here? Why do you not have a table? And I was like, I don't know. You feel like a bit imposter syndrome. So I was like, asked the lady, how do I get involved? So I got invited to the last ones. That was in November. So that was really nice, because I was at this event where I literally knew, usually when I go to an event, I know people have been invited, but this was like super weird. And I didn't know anyone, and like people were coming up to me, and then they were buying my book. And I was messaging my husband, like, I've just sold a book. I've just sold another book. I've just sold another book. And I literally was like, couldn't believe it that I was just selling books to these complete strangers that didn't know me at all. So that was really nice to be in environments where it was a bit out of my comfort zone, I guess, because I'm normally in a church environment, a Christian environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice. But yeah, I'm very open again to this year of doing whatever I need to do to get my story out there, really. So
do it. And the thing is, I mean, I go to every year. I've done quite a lot of events, so I've gone to lots of book fairs. There's a new one I've added on, but I booked it for that's in September, which is it's a literary fest in Oxford in a community centre. But I've done the Oxford Independent Book Fair. That's good as well. But Oxford, they do a summer one and then they do a big one in the winter at the university. So that one I've done every year, like this year, last year and the year before. And then I've done Milton Keynes was in the shopping centre. I sold like 19 books. People were still coming when I was packing them. It was amazing. And then Marlow, Oxford, Milton Keynes, and then I've done a few other events. One was a health event, random, that I'm going now with fantasy books, but it was great fun. I got invited by another author, and then believe it or not, do you know the first year I published my books, I did car boot sales in the summer.
Wow.
I sold quite a lot of books.
Wow, amazing, good idea.
That was just a bit of innovation, right?
Yeah, of
course. People coming up to me saying, "Oh, I've never seen an author at these places." Anyway. So yeah, just keep going. And if I hear of any events, I know you're in a different. Did you say you're in Manchester?
Yeah, I'm near Manchester. Yeah.
So, but there's one event that I don't know if they're full, but they're doing events all over the country, like Scotland, Birmingham, all over. So if I could share the link, but I don't know if they're full already, but might be worth looking at. But yeah, if I hear of any, I'll share with you as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and obviously I'm just always. Social media is your platform as well, isn't it? So I'm very active on all platforms. I try to be.
Yeah,
that's the shop window as well, isn't it? So yeah,
I try. One more thing. I know we're heading off soon. So the main character of your book.
Yeah.
What would she say? She. Yeah. What would she say to our viewers here as to why they should read your book? Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. I think because in our lives, we're all going through some kind of adversity or trial or challenge, and we don't need to stay in that dark place, that there is hope, and things can change and things can get better.
I love that. So that's a real message of hope as well. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining today. I feel like the hour went so quick. Well, it
has gone really quick.
I want to make sure I do a little wrap up, but I feel like it's gone really quick. And is there anything you want to cover or want to say as well before we kind of wrap up? Because before we know it, it's going to be 10 o'clock, and I don't want to keep you too much longer. But
I think we've touched on everything, haven't we? So I guess just encouraging people to support those independent authors out there, because it's not easy having to do all this ourselves. I think a lot of people think once you've got a book out there that you must have got published and there's a big team behind you doing all this stuff, and as we know, the team is me, myself and I.
Exactly. and that's why I think, Amber, I think the author community is so powerful, really, because since becoming an author, and that is 80%, they say 80% of people want to write a book, but only 2% actually do it, write it and publish it. And the self-publishing has transformed that world, because it's more readily available to actually, you can do it yourself, right? Then it doesn't stop there though, because it is then, right, you've written a book, then what? It's there on the platform, but who knows about it? There's like how many books? 1,000? Was it? Is it like, how many books is it a day? Oh, I can't remember a day. But anyway, there's millions of books every year being published. So there's steps that we all have to do as independent authors. And I think as a community, we can enable and support one another even more. I've had so many authors that have, kindly done an interview. I haven't asked them. They've done a blog about my book, or they've blogged about me, or they've offered to put an interview on their website, do a sort of author interview and things like that. And those sort of things are helping one another. And it's like, yeah, pay it forward, and then getting yourself on a radio show or something, or little things like that, because those things don't cost. So, and I think as independent authors, we can support one another and do free things like sharing, doing interviews like this, and sharing our books. And I think I would say, since joining the author community, I found the author community such a lovely, supportive community, and it's like entering a different world, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to check out Amber's book. I don't know if she's going to flash that cover again, but Running From Myself, please check out her book. She needs support as well as an indie author. So check it out on her TikTok page and on her profile. You'll see her links. And
I've just been made redundant from work as well, just on Christmas Eve. So buying my book at this moment in time would really, really help me.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your post on that. Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes,
that is a tough one. And I'll keep you in my prayers as well for that. But it's just like, yes, basically, independent authors do need that support. So we appreciate reviews as well.
Yeah, definitely. Always pushing on the reviews.
No, I think people don't realize how valuable they are, because actually your review goes, everything's about algorithms. We know that. Oh, what happened? Our lives are dominated by algorithms. So the reviews will put your books in the place to be seen, basically. If you don't have reviews, it's not seen as much. So if it's not seen, nobody knows it's there. And there are these wonderful people out there that actually, they're kind of destined to read that book, I'm sure. And you're gonna transform lives, and you already are transforming lives. So thank you for sharing all the wonderful work that you're doing in donations as well into prisons, helping people with your story. And long may that continue. And I wish you all the best for moving forward. And let's just stay connected.
Yeah, no, great. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Lovely to meet you in person. Obviously on social media, but lovely to meet you in person. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thanks everyone.
Bye guys.
I think we caught all the questions.
Yeah, there's a few people on here that were also from my workplace who were made redundant with me as well, Molly and Hangama. So, I know, guys, I missed you.
Thanks for joining. We've also got I'm probably going to do another next week. I haven't got anyone lined up yet, but I'll just do a little bit of touting, shall I say, just putting some messages out there. I've got 2 authors for February, so I'll just keep doing some. I'll try and do them. What I'm going to try and do is weekly. Maybe the odd week where I take a holiday, I take a break, but I'll try and do it weekly. But no, I think it was great. And are you happy for highlights, for me to post highlights?
Of course. I didn't know if you'd recorded the whole thing or you were going to share it. Or
here's the thing: TikTok records it for you, and then you go to events, and then you can do highlights.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because someone was saying they couldn't watch it, but could have sent them the link after, and I was like, I don't know.
That's nice. Yeah. So let me share that with you. I think I have to download the whole thing. It didn't do it. I was trying to do it on the previous one, but TikTok will automatically create these little highlights. And when it did that, I posted them, but I didn't realize that you can actually also go in and get highlights yourself.
Right.
And then if I can download the whole thing, I'll share it with you. Okay.
Yeah. No, fabulous. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Indie authors promoting authors. Thank you, Amber. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I don't even know how to exit.
I know, I was thinking, what do we do now?
How do we get out? Somebody help, tell me. No, I'm joking. I did that last time. I was like, where's the actual hang on. There's a button somewhere.
Click the X in the top corner, Molly says, to end the live.
Oh my God, we need help, don't we?
Where's Molly's there? She goes live all the time.
Oh, do you? Thanks for joining, Molly, and telling us. I can't see an X, but
I can see an X, so I'm going to